I actually want to bring up the VP from PNC Bank, who's our third year in a row presenting sponsor. Where's Fred Livingston, you Mr. Cute? Where are you, handsome? PNC Bank has rocked our world every year. They're our State One sponsor, one of our biggest sponsors. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand the mic over.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody, good evening. I know the acoustics are a little funny in here, so if you can hear me better, just kind of give me a sense. Is that better? Is that working? A little louder, a little louder. So this is my opportunity to present the PNC story, right? The commercial. But I think I would be remiss in doing that without sharing what Ro had asked me to do, which is to share a little bit of my story and my journey and what brought me here today. So I've been in banking for a bazillion years. Now, a bazillion years is probably about 30 in real life, but it feels like a bazillion at times. And when I got into banking as a gay man, it was not the type of thing I wanted to put on my resume, because I really didn't think as executives and presidents were selecting the next member of senior management that was really going to buy me a ticket. So I negotiated within myself a decision that I was going to separate personal and business, not dissimilar to separating church and state. And that worked for me for a lot of years. The promotions came, I evolved, we moved, and about 15 years ago, about 5 years after Quality Florida started, somebody came to me, it was my boss, and we had a conversation, and she said, you know what, I'm going to teach you math. I was a bit offended, I'm a finance guy. And she said, I'm going to teach you math. She said, you're living half your life in one spectrum, half in the other. And she said, but you know, when you add the two halves together, it doesn't equal a whole. Because when you only bring half of yourself to work, or half of yourself home to your personal life, and you don't intertwine the two, you compromise the richness that is you. So while all of this is going on, and I'm thinking, you know, I've got a good success thing going on here, I don't think I want to mess it up, but I'm processing this. People like you, organizations like Equality Florida, and corporations like PNC Bank thought, you know what, we need to take a very different approach. We need to drive that spirit of inclusion, that appreciation for diversity, and make that happen every day. So fast forward, about 4 years ago-ish, I joined PNC Bank. And I gotta tell you, now this is the plug, but it's not a plug because we're arguably the 5th largest bank in the country. We're up and down the East Coast. We've got 2,500 branches and 60,000 employees, but we're so, is that a plug? Sounded like it, didn't it? My boss is in the back room, so be careful. She writes the check to pay for all this. It's just a good thing. So, but the reality is we're so much more than that. And it's a culture within the organization that really makes us special. Because while we'll write the check, we show up. So if you had told me 30 years ago that I'd be standing here as an openly gay man, corporate executive with PNC Bank, with my husband of husband of 6 years, but we've been together for 24, it'll be 25 years next month, that I'd be standing here talking about that and sharing that part of my life with you all. Now, I hope you're celebrating the fact that he got to marry me. I think that's kind of the deal. Honey, you heard that, right? So, that's my boss in the back room. There she is. You gotta love her. But here's the deal. So we are going back. We're so much more than just the bank that I talk about. We're a bank that really values diversity of thought, diversity of opinion, ethnicity, lifestyle. But we define ourselves as a Main Street bank, and what's cool about that is in that Main Street, everybody's welcome. And that's a big deal. I'm really proud of that particular thing. And I want to just say that we put our money where our mouth is by having our people on the street. So in the room tonight, there's about 12 of us. Interesting, we only had 10 tickets. We've got 12 of us in here. And they range from our branch manager, our assistant branch managers, to our director of wealth for Palm Beach, to our executive vice president in charge of the state of Florida. That's my boss, so applaud when you see her. But what's interesting about the combination is there's a very small percentage of that group that's LGBT. They're allies. And they're not here because they have to be. They're here because they think it's the right thing. So I'd ask you to do two things. First of all, applaud for me when you get a moment. Not yet. But a round of applause because it's people like you that give people like me the right to be here. It's organizations like Equality Florida that make this happen, and banks like PNC. Round of applause. Thank you so much, everybody, for allowing us to be here tonight. Have a good evening, and I'm passing it back to you.